Hey, we're live. Yay. I hope you're doing well. It is Wednesday, May 27th, and we're going to be talking about animal messengers, and we're going to talk about how our spirit guides work with them and all that fun stuff. But if you're new to me, well, I'm Whitney McNeil of messengerofspirit.com. And I really love to help you clearly understand your intuitive messages to live your life purpose and manifest abundance. But I also like to talk about those things that happen in between as we're getting there as well. So we today are going to be talking a little bit more about the signs our spirit guides can send us when we might not be expecting them. So I know that most of you have seen number patterns, and if you have seen number patterns, you can look at my previous video about energy of 1111. I know that, you know what's crazy? So we opened up a membership to help you really align your energy, thoughts, and your intuition. And this membership is $11, and we've named it like the 1111 membership. Since we opened that, I've had so many number patterns. It is crazy. And somebody actually had commented with me today on one of my posts, and she's like, me? And then it says 444 people. And I'm like, yeah, that's just what it is. So I love that. But anyway, back to my story. We are not going to be focusing on number patterns today. We're going to be talking more about our animal friends. And so I'm really excited. And if you do have questions about that membership, you can go to messengerspirit.com/1111. But I want to dive into what happens when spirit sends a sign. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to be talking today about what happens when we're not listening. And we're going to talk about the balancing of rest and manifesting. And I know that these sound like random topics, but trust me, they all actually do go together. So I'm really excited. And if you're here, let me know. There should be this little link that you can click at the top of our live feed today. And you can click that so that I can see your name. So StreamYard can give you permission. So I can say, oh, you commented versus me just seeing Facebook user. But if you like something I say, press the like button. If you love something I say, press the love button. And if you're watching the replay, you can comment #replay. So good to see you. Hey, Debbie and Cindy and Barbara. Good to see you. Hey, Claire. So somebody said there was no sound, but I think it's working for everyone else. So you may want to, maybe you might want to hop out and hop back in. Claire can help you as well. Hey, Sarah, so good to see you. I love it. All right, let's get into it. You ready? Okay. I've seen Amira, she said on my picture here, she said, wolves remind me of an encounter with 2 white wolves here in Alaska. So it's so interesting. I posted a picture of a wolf and I've gotten so many comments about it. And I think that wolf was definitely and is definitely an animal energy that I continue to work with. But if you haven't followed my Instagram story or my Facebook story, I need to tell you about one of the most recent animal messages that came through. So I am getting ready to embark on a staycation. I will talk about that in a little bit. But I started pre-staycationing over the weekend at my pool. And my dad and I talked on the phone, and he had this dream about snakes. And he said, Whitney, it was so weird. Snakes were everywhere, and I was trying to shut the door on the snake, and one slipped out. And so I started telling him, hey, snake really means rebirth. It means renewal. It means shedding the old skin, moving into the new. And he was like, oh, okay. And he said, but you know what's weird is after that dream, I really worked on my rose bushes that day. And I went to pick up a stick, and it was a snake. And so we had this long discussion about how the snake sat there, and it wasn't a poisonous snake. So I'm glad that he left it alone and it could just live in the natural habitat. But I said to him, being the daughter that I am, you're out there in the rose bushes and you might want to be careful about copperheads. They can, really be camouflaged, doing my daughterly duties. So we were talking about this. And so we hung up the phone, and then I started to remember that I hadn't really done a snake meditation. And what's interesting is whenever I've done readings before, I've always connected into somebody's energy, and I would probably say in about 99% of the readings I've ever done that snake, or I don't want to say snake, but snake or butterfly or whatever animal totems around them have come through. I've had kangaroos come in, I've had parrots, just some sort of animal messenger. But whenever I've said snake in the readings, for the people who've had snake, they usually go, oh, no, I don't want that. But snake is a really beautiful message because it sheds its skin and it moves into the new. And shamans used to see snakes, and the eyes would get a little bit cloudy over the snake. And people normally think, ew. But it really is about that change, because snake, if you've got that energy, it can represent that old stuff sloughing off or going into the different realms like we were talking about with shamans. And so snake is really powerful, as is really all the animal totems that come through. But I decided to go into my pool, and water amplifies your intentions. And I was doing a meditation with snake. I was visualizing anything that no longer serves me moving away and then moving into the new. And so about an hour later, my husband was like, let's go in and get some dinner. It was about that time. And then all of a sudden he says, Whitney, do not move. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, don't move. And of course, like, somebody says to you, don't move, what do you want to do? You want to move. So I kind of moved a little slowly. And I'm like, why? And he's like, there's a rattlesnake. So there was a rattlesnake blocking the door so that I couldn't go in. So let's talk about it. Why do the rattlesnakes show up? Well, we attract animal energies when it's in our vibration. And I was actively working with snake to release, to shift. What's really, really beautiful is that this was right at the new moon time. And so with the new moon, you're going into the rebirth, right? And so you're shedding the old. And so this was a beautiful, perfectly timed energy that came in. And so me doing this meditation, it's in my energy. And so I'm therefore attracting what I am kind of connecting with. So that's one way that our animal messengers come in. But your spirit guides can also send animal messengers to you. And so it was like I couldn't even get into my door because the animal was there blocking me, saying, do you see me? I'm right here. And what was really sweet, I know that you might think it's crazy I'm saying the snake is sweet, but the snake would look at me and then like turn its head like, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm just here to show you I'm here. And so it was, when you want to make sure that you're getting the message, the animals are right there. So it's like literally I couldn't go anywhere until I released. So this is a great way to start understanding when animals are right there with you. When your spirit guides want you to get a message, you might start seeing the animal like I did, or you could see the animal on TV all the time. You might start having dreams about the animal, or you might hear their words, like the name. You might hear someone speak about the animal, and you can also start seeing them in your life a bit more as well. So that generally happens. Here's the deal. If you are not stopping to really understand the meaning of it and try to work with the energy, it's going to continue. So for instance, we've had moths in the house, but we had them way more last year. And it was like we're not stopping to really understand the message and try to integrate it into the energy. So that is something, when you're not listening to the message, your spirit guides say, let's give you more of it until you get the message. And so one of the things that I wanted to share here is that when we're not getting the lesson of something, our spirit guides keep giving us more of the same. And it's not just our spirit guides, it's also our higher self and our energy saying, hey, you're not getting the message, you're not learning, and so let's do something different. So we have to stop and integrate it. And the biggest thing that I've heard from students and clients when I've done readings in the past, where they feel like they're stuck in a certain area. And there's other ways to shift energy. There can be other things going on. but it's, do you get the lesson? Are you accepting the lesson? Are you actually stopping and saying, I'm surrendering to this lesson. I'm going to accept it. Because a lot of times our ego gets in the way and we want to change it to what we want it to be. And we have to stop and say, I receive the lesson, I understand. And sometimes we have to sit in that lesson before we can move forward into the next energy. And it's important that we allow space for that to happen, which brings me to the next point. And one of the promises that I had today was talking about the balance of resting and manifesting. So we are trained a lot of times in our energy to go, 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 or think, come up with new ideas, or do, whatever it is, because sometimes we're taught we're lazy if we don't. However, why would you want to continue to move forward when you're running up into roadblocks? You're just going to continue to run into more roadblocks until you do the work. And so it's really important that we allow ourselves to make that shift and allow ourselves to make that change. And one of the ways that we do this is by resting and healing and integrating the messages that you're getting. So maybe you're talking to your spirit guides every day, which is great. That's what I teach inside the Intuition Abundance Academy. And you are getting these messages coming through, but you feel like you're still stuck, like you're not getting forward in something that you're wanting. Well, take a moment and check in with your energy and see, is your energy flowing or is your energy stopped? So for me, I'm going to be taking off tomorrow through next Thursday to rest, to integrate the message of the snake. Snake is a great healer. When you look at the symbol of medicine, you see the snakes intertwined. Snake is a great healer. So I'm going to allow myself to just be and receive and just shed whatever I need to shed so that I can come back and show up like 100 more times authentic and excited and happy in my life and for my students. And it's really important to know that you can't manifest from a place where you feel depleted. You can't manifest from a place where you feel like you're continuing to go, 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 and you just keep running into more roadblocks. Running into those roadblocks, it's not an excuse for you to say, it's just not meant to be. It's a sign, and so are animals, to help you integrate whatever lesson you need to learn, which is really beautiful. And so if repeating the same habits, repeating the same things that you've been going through, you have to realize at some point it's not working, right? And so when we say that we have these blocks from our current circumstances, we're not going to create any new circumstances by making decisions from our old circumstances. And so knowing, okay, you know what? I can't make decisions from fear or from my old circumstances or whatever the messages and the languages that we're using to our psyche and to the universe. We have to stop and say, okay, let me receive. Let me receive. And a lot of times our mental body wants to understand. And we're like, well, what does it mean? And while it's important to know what it means, the true lesson is actually integrating it into our energy and allowing our intuition to access the meaning of the animal. So there are books with learning about animal totems. There's Animal Speak, and that's a great book. I have a friend, you can follow her on Instagram. She's at Always Intuitive, Always Intuitive, and she has a link about animal totems. But the key is that you can read all day long, but you have to really accept what's the message specifically for you. And a lot of times we're in this mode of going, and we're not actually receiving and relaxing. And it's really important that we work on what's holding us back in an energetic sense. And usually the blocks that are holding us back are somewhere in the subconscious. It can be limiting beliefs that we grew up with, things that we can tell ourselves, like maybe we're saying, I can't afford this, or I don't have this gift, or we're saying, I don't have time to devote to this. All that is a bunch of bullshit that we tell ourselves most of the time. Because if we're saying those things to ourselves and we're saying them to the energy in the universe, we're actually going to limit any possibility coming in. So we need to shift that belief and say, I'm curious and I'm interested in receiving the message that this animal is here to teach me. I am curious and interested to see how this is possible, how investing in XYZ is possible. Or I'm curious into making sure that what happens if I create space in my day for meditation, create space in my day for alignment, create space in my day to receive this animal's energy. I wonder how that will shift my future days. And so those things we have to actually realize, because I'm not a person that wants to have a bunch of rattlesnakes in my backyard. So I want to make sure I take time to really understand, and I'm going to take a week to do that. But if you have animals that continue to come through over and over, it's usually our spirit guide saying, hey, you got the message at the beginning of the animal. Now are you getting the message even more? And so if you're not, you'll either dream of them, you'll hear them over and over, and you may actually see them. And this is something that's important to really reference. I think it's really important to understand. So what's really interesting is I never felt scared when I saw the snake, but a couple days later, I've started to have this little fear that pops up when I walk into my room. Is there going to be a snake in my room? Which I don't think that is a high probability, but it's important to know, hey, there's something more here, Whitney, for you to learn. Are you afraid of change? Because years ago, I was afraid of change, and I've really learned to embrace it. But there's obviously something else in my energy that is speaking to me that I can say, I wonder what this is. I'm going to be really curious about it. So some of you have asked me about the wolf. And what's interesting is I started really feeling like a connection to the wolf. And when I had my first Reiki attunement, I actually clairvoyantly saw a wolf sitting to me. And so I actually felt like I could even pet the wolf. Like I saw the wolf so vividly. But I would say a couple years ago, I felt the wolf call to me even more. And I just had this crazy, I want to go see a wolf. I really want to be around a wolf. I just feel like this is my vibe. And where can I do this? And so the picture that I shared on Facebook is actually, turns out, from a wolf sanctuary right down the road where I live, like literally like 5 to 10 minutes from where I live. And so we were able to go and pet the wolves at this wolf rescue, this wolf sanctuary. So that's where the wolf came from. But it was such an interesting energy to experience that power and understand that these wolves, these creatures, these beautiful, wonderful creatures have this power, but they can be so accepting and so loving as well. And so you have to tap into the animal and ask, what are you teaching me? So another example is we were in the pool and we all of a sudden had all these gnats. But what's interesting is the gnats don't bother me. They bother my husband. And so I don't really see the gnats, but my husband does. And so he actually got bit by gnats, and that's all he talks about, like for the last couple of days, is getting bit by gnats. But the patience factor of understanding that we can relax and understand that we don't have to be annoyed by small things was really his message. And I got it quicker than he did. And I said, I'm going to practice this. I'm going to sit out here because the gnats were around me. But I said, I'm just going to ignore them and just focus in on meditating. So I actually did a meditation where I saw myself as being like this tiny dot and I just thought, I'm going to practice peace that way. Like I'm just going to rein in my energy. I've practiced expanding my energy, but I'm just going to like go into having this energy of conserving it. And when I did that, the gnats didn't bother me. I didn't get any bites. And so this is an example of that. So really tuning into the message of the animal, instead of applying the let me go look it up kind of mentality, take a moment and connect in with your intuition and give that animal, honor it because it's there teaching you a lesson. But your spirit guides are also there too to give you the message. So when you're not listening, they send tangible signs, but one of the ways that they give you the message is through sending animal messengers to you as well. Now, we all have animal messengers as a makeup energetically of who we are. So when I'm in somebody's energy, a lot of times I'll say, okay, you have this energy, this energy, this energy. But we have a makeup of what I call permanent animal totems. But we also have animal messengers that come through. And so more so today, I'm talking about animal messengers that are like, hey, I'm here. And those animal messengers can stay with you at various lengths, but it's basically, hey, are you getting the message? I think it was last month, I have a private group coaching and mastermind for my students. And so we were in a call for the mastermind, and the Roadrunner started pecking at the windows. And that Roadrunner was there for a good while. And what was really interesting is, even though it was really for my husband, but also as we were moving through the day, the Roadrunner would like come find us in another window and peck. And so it was interesting because that's about speed and agility and moving and pivoting very quickly. And this all happened around the time of COVID. So it made sense about why the Roadrunner was there. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is, I'd love for you to take a few moments and journal or think, if you're not a journaler, about what animals have shown up in your lives, and then really sit with it and connect with your intuition about those animals' energy and why you feel it's there. Not with your logical brain, but with your intuitive. So I think that that's really, really important. Somebody says they write down their daily animals that cross their paths. Yes, awesome. Claire has given a lot of links in the comments to help you with this as well. Yeah, so Bridget, I would love to know what you are seeing with chipmunks. Why do you feel like they're there? So I have a friend on Instagram, but she's my friend, like my real friend. And I asked on Instagram, by the way, if you don't follow me, you can go to Instagram.com/messenger of spirit, or just type in messenger of spirit. But I had asked a question, what animals are showing up in your life? And she got in chipmunk as well. So I'd love to know, Bridget, what you feel with chipmunks. So an example is, when you're tuning into the animal, you can observe the animal. What emotions come up for you when you're observing the animal? What habits does the animal have that you feel perhaps more aligned with? Does it bring joy to your life? Are they moving very fast, or are they moving very slow? What is that message specifically there for you? So, and hey, Ginger and Marlena, good to see you. And Latrice and Raven. Raven is a beautiful one, Barbara. So I'd love for you too to connect in and see what Raven is there, why Raven is there for you. Bridget says, I saw a snake on Monday and it's trying to get the chipmunks and making holes in my fairy garden. Oh, very interesting. So let's talk about this. When you have more animals in your area that you perhaps want to eliminate, normally what happens is you'll have other animals that come in to balance the power, right? So we had a lot of mice and pack rats. And so we've had a lot of those. And mouse is about detail, sometimes paying too much attention to detail. And we have been asking for a solution for that. So I really resonate with Hawk, which is actually where I got my name, Messenger of Spirits. Like, that's how I named my business, from the hawk, because hawk means so much to me. And so I was asking for more of that. And so on this beautiful day that I saw the snake, I literally saw a mouse climb down in between our stucco of the house and then like the bones of the house. And it went to the corner where later in the day I saw a snake. But I also saw hawk come in as well. So what I would encourage you to do is meditate with the animal that you could bring through to then help dispel what it is. But what I'll be cautious to say to you, Bridget, is I think you might have to meditate with a snake because you want the snake gone. So really concentrate on your meditation focus and talking to your spirit guides and your intuition about, why are the chipmunks there? What does that represent to me? And then why do I feel this strong feeling about snake wanting the snake gone? And so a lot of times you're going to probably say, well, because I like the chipmunks and I don't want the snake to kill the chipmunks. But look at it energetically of what the meaning is. And so as we're looking energetically of what the meaning is, sometimes we have to lean into what we don't like. Ooh, I know that sounds weird. Sometimes we have to lean into what we are resisting so that it doesn't persist. And so if we have a snake that we really don't like, sometimes we have to learn and say, what is it that I don't like about the snake? What am I resisting specifically? I have a friend that hates sharks, like cannot stand, has this crazy fear about sharks. And so shark can be about quick action, but aggression, brute force power, those kinds of things. And so really kind of looking at what am I rejecting in my own energetic field, and how is shark representing that for me? So I just wanted to use that as an example too. So somebody said they had not seen gnats. Good. It's good for you. But that's what we are seeing here. And it's going to be different for everybody as well. Karen says, I had a weird experience this week with ants and it woke me up. I kept seeing these ants in my bathroom this week. And she said, after a couple days, I realized they were trying to send me a message. So I Googled them and I found they're attracted to sugar. What made me realize I must watch my diet and sugar intake. That's actually a really beautiful aha, Karen. I know you're like, ooh, that's gross, but actually that taught you something, right? So I had ants that kind of infiltrated the house years ago, and it was more so about annoyance and invasion, like feeling like I didn't have good boundaries. But it's not necessarily that message that you'll find in a textbook. So I had to really look at what that meant specifically for me, but that's a really good one as well. So, Meredith says, I saw an anteater as a message from my spirit guides, and now there are ants all over my porch. How funny. So Meredith, lean into the anteater and find out why the anteater is there. And perhaps you could merge with the anteater and embody the lesson, like in your meditation, and really find out what that means for you specifically. That is very, very insightful, and I love that. So Meredith, you said ants have been a big messenger, but is it ants or anteater? Because that's a big difference. And so ants could be representing something you need to clear, and you being the anteater could be something else, which is interesting. Hey, Leslie, good to see you here from Oregon. So that's what happens and how our messengers, our animal messengers, come through. Most of the time, they are not like animals that we have had that have passed into spirit. These are messengers specifically to teach you a lesson in your life. And this is basically if you already have it and you're holding and embodying the message already in your energy, and this is my animal, then a lot of times you'll attract them a bit more. But also if it's just over and over and over, and especially if you're annoyed at it or you don't like it, then it's really time to look at, why are you here? What's going on here? So for us, it was pack rats and mice. Like, why are you here? It was also moths. Why are you specifically here? And so for me, I've been focusing on the detail way too much, where I need to be focusing way out and more into that hawk energy. So do you see how that goes together? So mouse is about detail. Hawk, even though can see detail, it's about the big picture. And so for me, it was, Whitney, you founded your business on the big picture and messenger of spirit, which is the hawk. And so you've been focusing on detail way too much. Like, it's time for you to step more into that role, which is great. And that's why I have a team, so they can focus more on the detail. But do you see how that goes together? And what's interesting is the hawk eats the mouse. So the more hawk you bring in, it starts dispelling that. So that's an example of what I'm sharing. And when your spirit guides, they just can't give you the message. Sure, they'll give you the message in other ways, but sometimes it's like beating you on the head with a baseball bat. I mean, a baseball bat filled with hearts. Our spirit guides aren't going to try to literally hurt us. They only want to help us. But one of the ways is that they will send the animal over and over and over, or they will position you to feel like, I want to get on YouTube, or I feel like I need to turn on the TV, or I need to call my friend. And then your friend's like, oh my gosh, I saw this deer. And then on YouTube, maybe you see an ad about deer. Like, they put you in those places so you're exposed to the animal in some form, but it's not necessarily in a dangerous way. So with the snake, I did not feel like it was a danger, but it wasn't something that I want to be stepping around at night when I take out my my dog. So hopefully that is helpful. Now, the thing I want to leave you with is please know that the more that you see the animals, the more that you probably need to connect with them. While they can be a celebration of, hey, you've totally got this and you're seeing all these animals, I like to say, really stop and reflect and just allow yourself to actually receive the energy of the animal, do a meditation. For me, I really felt like I've got to take like a week off to just be and to get back into that bigger picture. So the hawk soars over the wind, right? And the hawk can go into long distances. And for me, it's, I need to have that space where I feel like I'm gliding through my day versus focusing on the detail. And it's not lazy to rest. It's not lazy to take time off. It's actually very important into our energy and how we manifest. And so knowing that those beautiful things that sometimes we feel are an indulgence, right? Like sometimes with an investment, we feel like we're indulging in something. And then we tell ourselves that we shouldn't, which is a bunch of BS. We have to look at the beauty that it can really provide in our life. How do we feel when we have this indulgence? Do we feel good? Do we allow ourselves to rest? Are we being good to ourselves? And when I say indulgence, I mean the healthy indulgence, right? Like what does your body need? What does your mind feel? And I think the worst disservice that we can do for others is coming from a place of depletion. And we're coming from a place of depletion, we can get resentful, especially empaths. Empaths usually give, and they don't have natural boundaries. So they have to learn how to enforce their boundaries out of love. And so making sure that you feel like you're coming from a place of joy and that you can really allow yourself to rest. And what I would say is your rest might not be a week, but maybe it's 15 minutes where you can work with your animal messenger, or you can just allow yourself to be. Whatever it is, know that you have to recharge in order to fully move forward. So I'm talking about my story personally, but also when you're manifesting, you have to allow yourself to decompress as well. But what I will say is get into alignment. And getting into alignment can involve animals where you have to integrate the message so that you can manifest in a more full way, in order to understand that if I just keep going the track I'm going, I'm going to keep coming up to obstacles. And then we are going to go into a self-doubt mode, thinking that we can never do this, or we can't afford this, or whatever it is. So it's important that we shift our thinking to move more into, I'm going to just allow myself to receive whatever lesson this is. I'm going to do my part to understand, and I'm going to recharge my energy. And then when I get back up again, I'm going to be in alignment so I can move forward and start approaching things in a more balanced, aligned way. If anyone has ever actually tried to do things and their technology didn't work, or they kept dropping things, that's usually a sign that you're out of alignment. And so yesterday I knew that I was like, I got to get into alignment because the tech world was not working. Now, sometimes things are not in our control, such as the internet. We can't necessarily control that. But knowing that, okay, we've got to really learn the lesson so we can move forward is important and integral in your manifestation. So I hope this helps. I am glad to see you here. I wanted to talk about Bridget's thing. She said, I must be afraid that I'm going to lose what I have in the present moment. I've never, ever felt the love I have right now. Wonderful man, great friends, extremely happy. I love that you are extremely happy. And you said you must be afraid that I'm going to lose what I have in the present moment. I don't know why you think that, but what I would say is you deserve it. You deserve the power, the happiness, the joy, and allow yourself to experience it. I do feel like there's so many of us who are intuitive that have these limiting beliefs that it's only going to last for a second. Or maybe we've heard people in the past say it's too good to be true, whatever it is. I am here to bust that shit wide open and say to you, you can live your life purpose and live it your entire life and be abundant and joyful in it. You can get paid for your life purpose. You can have your intuition all days, every day. You can have that perfect relationship, whether it's in a romantic relationship or with yourself. You can live your joy every day. And I truly believe it starts with your intuition. Because if you're not listening to your intuition, you are out of alignment. You are. And then you're just going to keep going out of alignment. So let's get rid of those limiting beliefs about whatever it is. Like, I can't spend money on that. I can't afford that. I can't have that love. I can't have that job. I can't ever create my own business. Let's wipe that slate clean and know that all things are possible. And truly, when we start really integrating the messages of what Spirit's bringing us and we're connecting to our intuition, we start really aligning and accepting possibilities. Our perspective shifts so much into possibility, where we say, oh, that is so cool. The students that are inside of Intuition Abundance Academy, I love seeing their posts. They're like, oh my gosh, I got $500 today. This is crazy. Oh my gosh, I now have $1,000. Oh my gosh. And they see the $1 that they get, and then they see the $100 that they get. They are shifting their reality, and I invite you to shift your reality as well. What you focus on, where you're putting your thoughts and your energy, get rid of the I can't and move into the how is this possible? I receive the possibility of this. I'm so curious to see how this can happen for me. So we move into that. And that's what I invite you to do with your animal messengers. You're here in my world. Okay, let's just see if I can understand your message. So I think it's really important. I'll leave you with, I keep saying I'll leave you with, and I never get off, but I love talking with you. Spider. So Spider has come into my life quite a bit. And you can look up Spider. It means writing. It means creativity. But really why Spider is in my life right now is balance. And so making sure that I'm staying in balance is super duper important for me right now. And I think it's important for everyone to make sure they're staying in balance. So thank you for hanging out with me. I went a little bit longer than I was supposed to, but I would love to see you again soon. And you can check out my videos, messengerofspirit.com/blog. You'll see my videos there if you want to check more out. And then if you haven't taken that intuitive quiz, you can go to messengerofspirit.com/quiz to see which way intuitively you're most likely primed to get your messages from your spirit guides. And for those of you, Claire dropped the link, who are interested in aligning their energy, and that's messengerofspirit.com/1111. All right, until next time, I hope you have a beautiful, fantastic week. I will not be here next week because I'm taking some time off. All right, see you later. Bye.